Yesterday evening, the biggest story that broke internet was all about Pochettino parting ways with Chelsea with mutual consent. That is it. That's how it went down at the side of Chelsea, and a lot of things really went ahead, obviously, go that way. Welcome to the Rokani Media Football. Pochettino has been sacked by Chelsea, and it really made rounds all over social media, and I know why it did, because most people never expected it, because Chelsea had always gone ahead, obviously, see their correspondents put out stories that, one, if Pochettino takes Chelsea to Europe, they're not going to sack him. That's what was said. You understand? But finally, a story came out that Pochettino got sacked, and huge surprise. From turning it around at a certain point, Pochettino and Chelsea were 11 points behind Manchester United and Newcastle, but they finished ahead of them. That is it. So, what does it mean for Chelsea? What is it going to be for Pochettino? We have to obviously come out and really bring you what this meant. And who broke the story? It was Matlow, before even Chelsea went ahead to put out a statement that Mauricio Pochettino and Chelsea part ways with immediate effect. Chelsea and Pochettino have already agreed on terms. As Matlow reports, Chelsea will consider a young manager a priority to replace Pochettino. Now, when you look at all that really went ahead, obviously showed it that they want to really sack the manager. It was confirmed earlier later, and then Chelsea put out a story. Chelsea confirmed that Mauricio Pochettino leaves the club with immediate effect. Directors Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley said, on behalf of everyone at Chelsea, would like to express our gratitude to Mauricio Pochettino for his service this season. He will be welcome back to Stamford Bridge anytime, and we wish him all the best, or the very best, in his future coaching career. That's the statement that Chelsea went ahead to put out. And then we had Mauricio Pochettino. He said thank you to Chelsea ownership group and sporting directors for the opportunity to be part of this football club history. The club is now well positioned to keep moving forward in the Premier League and Europe in the years to come. That's what Pochettino went ahead, obviously, say at the side of Chelsea. And I felt for the man. I tell you what, I felt Pochettino, because sometimes you really ask yourself, why was he sacked? Why was he sacked? And when we go to why was he sacked, we are having a story coming in through from Kieran Gill. He's a Chelsea correspondent for the Daily Mail, and he told us that insiders have claimed that Chelsea hierarchy want a head coach who will focus on improving the players provided to him, as opposed to a manager who will butt into other sides of the business. One source who disagreed with Pochettino's departure on Tuesday night described that as a puppet. Now, this has been on my mind. I was like, they never really separated, because the board of Chelsea never wanted Pochettino to stay. But the terms and conditions that were set at Chelsea for Pochettino to work under were not really conducive, and the ground was not all that fertile enough to say to it that he gets this club to where he wants to be. There is no top coach that will ever come up and really get in a job like that of Chelsea, when you're being paid highly and you don't have a say to what players you're going to really be having at the club. That is nowhere. It's written nowhere. It's written nowhere, because which club does it? Which club does it and it's successful? You should give the manager the veto power to really suggest players that he wants. And when he suggests those players, you sit with the CEO, the sporting director, and technical director and discuss about these players. You have to give him a reason as to why you want such and such a player, and convince him to bring in the player. Like, look at Man City, how they do their stuff. The hugest example is Rodri. Rodri was a player that was second best, always second feed on the list of CDMs that Man City looked at to replace Fernandinho at the side of Man City, and he came in after Jorginho. Jorginho, who was the priority for Mikel Arteta and Pep Guardiola at Man City. But guess what? There is a man called Omar Berrada. He comes in through and tells them, look at the age of Jorginho, look at the age of Rodri. When Rodri comes in here at Man City, he still has a very high ceiling ahead of him. But almost by the time Jorginho had hit his prime, and they were like, what do we need? Do we need a quick fix, or we need a person who is really going to grow into the system? He gave out his reasons, and then Man City made a decision that we are not going to sign Jorginho, because they had to compete for Jorginho with Chelsea, and that competition would have gone ahead, obviously calling for a huge amount of money and delay their transfer plan. What they did was like, let's get off Jorginho and let's get in Rodri. And Rodri with time fit into that club of Man City. He started to play in that midfield with none other than Fernandinho. He got used to the system, and right now, to me, he's the best number 6 in the world. You know, look at how they pulled out of the deal of Harry Maguire. You know, Pep Guardiola wanted Harry Maguire, you know, and he was willing to do everything. But the board told him, we can only get you Harry Maguire at £60 million, you know. And Leicester City wanted £80 million, and United fell into the trap of Leicester City, and they bought Harry Maguire for £80 million. What this side of Man City did was to go ahead and really bring in Ruben Diaz. Now, out of those two, I was going to have to make huge impact. I think it's Ruben Diaz, who was at some time voted as the best player in the league, you know, and he won the Premier League Player of the Season. You remember that season very well. I think that's the last season where where they beat Liverpool, where they really beat Liverpool with the trophy, and he won it late against Aston Villa. You understand? So when it comes to this, I have very many examples. And what Man City was doing to what the board, the Solianos, the Omar Berradas, there is this other guy called Takis Begiristan. What we are doing was simple. They were like, all right, you want this kind of player, yeah? You want that kind of player? So what we are going to do is simple. What we are going to do is, if they have £60 million, we get in Harry Maguire that you want. If you're Chelsea, you say, all right, Poch, you're going to have a say onto the players that we want. If you want a player, just tell them that we only have this budget, because you know you have an option that you want that can fit that budget. That's how you fail a coach and really get him another player. Jeremy Doku, you know, Begiristan was the one who convinced Pep Guardiola. Guardiola never wanted Jeremy Doku. This other guy, Oscar Bob, who is now one of those players that is going to hit to rise from the academy and is going to hit to get in very many games this season for Man City. It was an order or it was a suggestion from the sporting director or director of football of Man City, that is Begiristan, to Pep Guardiola that please get that ball onto the pitch and get him into the first team because I see he's ready. You understand? Now, for Poch, it's not only his job, it's also the job of the sporting director of Chelsea, and this is where they fell out. Pep was like, Poch was like, I need veto power onto what this happens. And I tell you what, I'm now starting to know that even Manchester United might sack what we call Eric Ten Hag, because Ten Hag also wants veto power onto the players that are supposed to be coming into the club. You understand? And for Pochettino, when you look at the players he's signed this season, you know, Nicholas Jackson, 15 goals in the Premier League. Nkunku was signed by the board. He brought in Disasi. He brought in who else? Moise Caicedo and Carl Palmer. They've been exceptional players, and I think they would have gone ahead to listen to this guy and keep him for at least one more year. You give him a chance. When he fails, then you sack him. You understand? And I think Toddy Boyle is trying to act like his predecessor, because ever since he came in through, he has gone ahead to sack Thomas Tuchel. He sacked Graham Potter, and he has gone ahead to sack Pochettino. Now, who is the problem for me? The problem is the board, because you've gone ahead to sack 2 managers in a space of like 1.5 seasons that you've gone ahead to hire, leave alone Tuchel, because he never hired Tuchel. I'm talking about Pochettino and Graham Potter. He's the same man that went ahead to hire them and fired them. You understand? So there is something that he needs to learn from his predecessor. Sorry, from the person that he came into and obviously replaced. The predecessor of Abramovich has gone ahead to try to do what Abramovich used to do, but Abramovich used to bring in a coach and tell him what do you want. So, I don't know how they're going to run this Chelsea project, but they're really having some good players. They're really having some good players, and wait to see how things are really going to pan out in that system of play. Now, we are having the correspondent of Chelsea for the Daily Mail, known as Kieran Gill. He has said Mauricio Pochettino fell short of securing the Champions League spot, craved by the Chelsea owners after their massive outlay on transfers. That's not it. That's not it, because taking them in Europe was really great. If they are craving for the Champions League, I tell you, they would have gone ahead to get rid of Pochettino like around January, because they are looking nowhere near the Champions League positions. You know, they are really way off. So, I really agree that there is something that really made these two to disagree. And the disagreement resulted into Pochettino really getting himself in a position of really saying, I cannot really dance to the tunes of these people. That is it. So, Champions League position, to sack him, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's all about the veto power on the signings coming in through. You cannot be there when the club is just going to sign players and you really manage them. No way. And I don't think that Chelsea are really going to get in a manager who is really quite good, because no manager at that level will obviously come in through and really say it's okay to be like that. No way. David Austin, it seems Chelsea will go for these newer breed of exciting managers that play a good style of football with an identity that fits into their structure and connects with the fan base. A good record of keeping players fit and available also improves them. I think we will know soon. He was talking to Sky Sports. That is David Austin. Now, the plan is not bad, but are they willing to wait? Is the owner of Chelsea willing to wait like Arsenal did? You know, Arsenal, to be competing for a trophy for 2 seasons consecutively, they had to give Mikel Arteta time. The fans of Arsenal, just no sooner had he made one here at the club of Arsenal, they were like, Arteta should be sacked. And he proved them wrong, and the process has gone ahead to go to where it's supposed to be. The problem the predecessor of Abramovich is really having is he thinks that Chelsea is still the Chelsea it was. And he will sack as many as he wants, but he's really ruining the club. That's now football is ran. You have to give a manager time to build, and after him building, you give him a chance to continue doing his craft. So, let's wait and see which manager is going to come in through, but the most disappointing bit of it all is this. You understand? You remember, they are blaming him for not keeping players fit, and now we are getting in a story coming in from the Chelsea correspondent for the Daily Mail, known as Kieran Gill, that one representative of a Chelsea star says the player is devastated by the departure of Mauricio Pochettino. Now, obviously, everyone should be devastated. Do you know why? They really had to turn around the season that looked bad, and they turned it into a season where they have something to celebrate about. They played in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, and it was because of Nicholas Jackson that they lost. They played into the final, and they lost to Liverpool of the Carabao Cup, and he took them to Europe. How do you come out and sack such a manager? Why should you sack such a manager? That is the huge question. So for me, I really have to understand why they went ahead to do it. It's not about his performance. It's all about, for me, according to me, and according to my reliable sources, they sacked Pochettino because they failed to agree on who should be having veto power on which player should come in through. Chelsea want to be just going outside there in the market, get in players, throw them at Cobham for the manager to train. And Pochettino is like, I'm not that desperate to stay here. Sack me, get me my money, I'll get out. And there is a story I'm gonna hate to read that he also never wanted Chelsea to sell Conor Gallagher and Chalobah, those two players. But here Chelsea are looking at Conor Gallagher, and they can get like £40 million for him and 40 for Conor Gallagher to really strengthen their squad. You understand? So that's really very, very, very disappointing for the side of Chelsea. And wait and see who is going to be the manager. And now, Chelsea is one of those teams that have gone ahead to say to it that are being linked to Roberto Di Zerbi. You understand? Talking of a young manager, he ticks all the boxes. Miguel Almiron is another one to talk about. You know, Hans Flick is not a young manager, and I don't know whether he can come in through and really accept a job like that of Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel, no way return to Chelsea because he was sacked at Bayern Munich. There is Vincent Kompany, surprisingly. I don't know how good he has gone here to prove to be at those levels, because Bayern Munich and Chelsea are talking about Vincent Kompany in this queue. Why are they looking for a manager like him? Just getting surprised. You understand? Which other manager has been talked about this? Is it Xavi? So I think I'm gonna really drop a video on the sports top 10, right? Sports top 10 and lifestyle channel. I'm gonna drop the video. I'm first dropping top 10 players leaving Arsenal, then later I'm gonna bring you a video of top 10 managers expected to replace Pochettino at the side of Chelsea. You know, that is gonna obviously send me a little bit of a fear for Erik ten Hag, because even Ineos might say we are parting ways because you've accepted to dance toward Hunes, but the beauty for Erik ten Hag is that he's having very many teams that are really willing to offer him a job. Bayern Munich is one of those. Barcelona is eyeing at Erik ten Hag to give him that kind of job to do the needful. So, but for Pochettino, I don't see him going to manage big teams in there for you. I don't know where he's going to be managing next, but we wait and see how that pans out. But continue to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokani David is my name. First video of the day comes in through early, and in the next 1 hour we are going to be here to drop you a video of more transfer news and stories that are really making headlines all over the world. Way out.